Hi, welcome to another episode of Along the River. I'm Alex Herzog, the host, and with me today is our assistant superintendent. I like to call her the voice of COVID. If you have a kid in the school system, you probably got a phone call or two from her. Donna Magoon. Donna, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I am great, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Well, we were excited to say, when you committed and said you would come to the show, we were pretty excited to put a face to the voice. And so I got to say, we're very happy to have you here, and thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me again.
So we've had an interesting year with COVID-19. As the assistant superintendent, there's been many changes here and that, and information-wise, a lot of ripple effects for students going in and out with remote. It's been a little bit of a crazy year. I just wanted to ask you, so what's your take on all this? Any new programs that we had to implement? We're hoping we're on the downside of this pandemic, but what do you know?
Well, I wouldn't say we're necessarily on the downside of it because our numbers have been going up a little bit here in Claremont. So, we still want to make sure we're still following all the protocols that are in place. And with the schools, we're still following the protocols. The governor changed it to 3 feet. It was 6 feet at one time, and then it got changed to 3 feet apart. And we're still following those. We're still following them on our bus. We're still following them in our buildings. We do have barriers in place for our kids. So those are a lot of protocols that we've been putting in place to make sure the safety of our staff and students, as well as our community.
Right, I think that's something that as a member of the SAU community here and a staff member here, one of the things we've implemented is always safety for our kids first, for the students. And I've got to tell you that the procedures we put in place, the masks, students have been very resilient about that. They wear their mask. In the beginning, you'd see them slide it down, but once they got used to it, they wore the mask, they comply, they use the hand sanitizer when they come in. So I've been really good, but how have parents responded?
Parents have been, we had a little bit of pushback with some of the guidelines, but I think that once parents saw that what we're putting in place works, because they've seen other schools that have had to close because of, COVID hitting their buildings, and we haven't. We've had a few times, but not as much as other school districts have. Never had to really close down our entire district. We've done schools, so that way we can do contact tracing, but there's never really been a big thing in our schools that we had to close our entire district down. So we've been very fortunate. Everybody's doing what they need to do. Our kids have been great. Even the younger ones in the elementary levels and preschool, they're wearing their masks.
They are. They come off the bus with their mask on. It's amazing to see them be so ready to learn. And it's great to have them back in school. We're fortunate that we're running full term right now, and we'd still have some students remote, and that's got to create a little bit of a confusion for some teachers and such, but there are still some students remote, correct?
Oh, yes. What we're really lucky about is the governor, came on and made an announcement that schools have to go back to 5 days a week because there were still some schools that were hybrid or remote, and a lot of schools are panicking. I was in a meeting last week, and a lot of the districts are saying, we don't know how we're going to do it. We don't know how we're going to do it. We're very fortunate. We've been doing it, and we're doing it great. And schools are actually calling us. Other districts are calling us saying, how are you guys managing to make this work? And so we've been very fortunate that we're not as stressed as other schools are because we've been doing what the governor has ordered from the beginning,
From the beginning.
So.
And I think you attend a weekly meeting where you get COVID updates, correct?
Yes, every week on Wednesdays, I meet with Dr. Chan, Dr. Daly, and a few other doctors, and we go over any new changes in protocols and, what our schools are doing and how to keep our community safe.
And it sounds like that by following the standards and implementing it, we're kind of setting a standard on our own and other schools are looking to us. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, absolutely. When the guidance changed for the travel guidance,
yes,
a couple school districts reached out and said, hey, can I have a copy of your flow chart?
Wow.
And so I gave them the flow chart so that way they could follow that. But we try to keep our families up to date with things that are going on, any new changes. Our staff know the new changes that are coming out. So it's good.
So you start with contact tracing when there's a case. So in the beginning, that probably was an arduous task. How have you managed all that process?
Well, I think once you get it down packed, right? So you know what you need to do. It's like getting up in the morning. You get up, you brush your teeth, you do this,
right,
and this. So step by step. So once you become so familiar with it, it's just something that you do, that you can do without thinking. And I've been very fortunate that we have some really great nurses and building principals that I've been able to work with through this process. So when we know that we have a child or a staff member or someone in our district that has COVID, it immediately starts. So when they call me, they can already give me an idea of where this person has been, and and our staff has been really good with keeping track of it. We have assigned seating on our buses, so we can look at that. If we have any issues, we have assigned seating in our classroom, so we know who was sitting in the seat before, before or after the student, who was sitting next to them, who was sitting behind them. So it's not like we're really chasing things. And then we have cameras in our buildings, so we can look at lunchrooms. We can see where were they sitting at lunch. Our elementary levels all have assigned seating at lunches, so it's been really, really a blessing. We've been blessed with having all these protocols in place. I know it's been hard, but they've paid off.
And the changes, everybody reacting, we see changes. I seems to be some loosening of restrictions now. Any major changes happening for the school district?
I would say no. We're still going to be required to wear masks. We're still going to do the 3 feet social distancing more if we can. Masks, outside at recess, masks are still going to be worn. During PE, masks are going to be worn. During sports, masks will be worn. So we are seeing that. One of the big changes, though, that we will see a lot, that'll benefit us, I guess, a lot, is that you no longer have to do contact tracing or quarantine kids that are under 6 feet.
Oh,
so
okay.
now it's under 3 feet without a mask. Prior to that, it was anyone that was around a student that was infected that was 6 feet or under. And so that could take out a lot of our population, considering that we're 3 feet. And so now the guidelines have changed that it's anyone under 3 feet without a mask. So now that's going to save a lot of kids from having to be excused. So we're not going to see necessarily classrooms that are going to have to be, asked to leave. It may just be a couple of students that may be asked to quarantine.
I see. Interesting. So yeah, so as you're keeping up on this every Wednesday with the phone calls, you're making sure that we're staying safe. And so I want to just say, from myself as an administrator in the SAU 6 district, as well as my colleagues, thank you for all your efforts in that.
Oh, you're welcome.
We know that it's a huge burden on you, but you're always able to pick up the phone, and when we call you, we have a question.
Oh,
Because
thanks.
we get calls from parents all the time, and we want to make sure that everybody's safe in our environment.
Yes. One of the things, too, I just want to make sure is that the 3 feet in the quarantining is for classroom environments, because the kids are sitting, so we're not talking sports. So sports will be a whole nother animal. So if something happens sports-wise, because they're running around, sweat's flying, and so that's going to be a little bit different. So we would still look at the 6 feet without with a mask in sports. So the 3 feet is in a controlled environment, which would be a classroom setting.
So are sports in full swing right now?
Yes.
So there are no sports have been delayed or passed? Oh, that's excellent.
No,
Great.
no, and we were really fortunate, I know in the beginning when basketball started, we had a lot of people that were upset that our kids needed to wear masks, but I was very happy to report that I did not have to put out any sports during that season, quarantine any of them. So because people are following the protocols and doing what needs to be done, we've been successful. So I'm looking forward to this season, and I think it's going to be a successful one as well.
Great. Now, hopefully the pandemic doesn't last forever. As the assistant superintendent, what are some things you'd like to see in the school district happen?
Well, we went one-to-one, so all of our kids had computers.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so we're going to keep up with that, keep doing the programs that we've been doing, Google Classroom, blended learning. We're really focusing on a lot of blended learning, so that way kids can use their computers in the classroom as well as at home. So we're looking at keeping a lot of those, keeping our staff trained with computers and technologies, because we know it changes all the time. So
there's always concerns about how much video time students have or young people have. Any changes what's some good things to think about? Can we put parents at ease a little bit about that? Just going off the cuff here, it seems like students are on video now all the time with their video classrooms. They may be watching their YouTube, their phones.
Yeah, I know, it was a big swing because, of course we've always told kids, get off your computers, get off your phones,
Right.
get off. And now we're saying, get on them, so it's been a huge
Exactly.
change for our kids. So we're hoping once we get, things start to level out and they settle down, there's not going to be as much screen time, as much computer usage. We will still have some things that kids will be doing on the computers. We've been asked about, will we now go away with snow days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because snow days, will they now be remote days? We're not sure yet, because we really think that kids need snow days.
Great.
you need to get out and play, and you need to have that energy. And I can remember as a classroom teacher myself doing a little dance in hopes that I would have a snow day, so that way the next day I could, get caught up on grading or something.
Pajamas
like
inside
that.
out, right? Spoon under the pillow. I've heard them all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Oh, I bet you do.
Well, thanks, Donna. I want to talk to you a little bit about, you've got some big plans for summer.
Yes, we
some
do.
great summer programs. What do you want to share with us about that?
Well, we have some great news for our summer program. What we're doing is we're ramping up a summer program in all levels. Right now, we just put out a flyer, I believe it was yesterday, regarding our elementary schools, and we'll soon be following throughout. So our elementary schools are offering a program in conjunction with the community center. So 5 days a week, our kids will be able to get an educational component, and they don't have to be, it's not like your traditional summer program where it's only kids that are falling behind. Mm-hmm. It's all of our kids. Any kid that attends the Claremont School District can attend this. And so they would go to the, it's going to be held at Maple Ave, 5 days a week. We provide a snack in the morning, we provide lunch, we provide a snack in the afternoon. After lunch, some kids stay back, some kids go to the community center. Each kid will get a day at the community center, 2 days at the community center. And then they go to the community center and they do activities such as swimming or it's just hiking, different activities. And then once a week, the kids will be doing field trips.
Wow.
That's based on a theme.
Great.
So, for instance, if the first week we're doing water, they could be, doing something based on that theme. So the whole day would be based around that water theme. And it'll vary by grade level. So some kids may be doing, oceans, some may be doing ponds, some may be doing fish, depending upon the kid's level.
Fun opportunities for learning.
Yes, and it's going to be hands-on, so that's going to be fun. It's a 6-week program. Parents can go on and sign up for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or all 6 weeks.
Great.
It's $10 a week.
Wow, that's a bargain.
And $25 for all 6 weeks.
Wow, that's great.
Yes, and so it's been something great, and it goes from 8 to 5:30, or 8 to 5, 8:30 to 5.
So that'll be great for working parents that need to find a place
Yeah.
for their young kids to find a place to be active and continue their learning.
Right, and that's one of the things that we looked at. We looked at, if we run a summer program and it's just in the morning, some of our kids would not be able to participate in it because parents need to work. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we, met up with the community center and had that conversation and what can we offer together that will make it beneficial for our families. And so.
And high school students, can they get recovery credit this summer?
Yes, so our middle school students will be they're currently working on what their program's going to be look like, so that'll be coming out within the next week or so. Our high school students will be doing credit recovery as they always do. There'll be a program, you'll be running a program here.
Yes, the Tech Center's doing a 2-week program, summer camps on trade skills, and then it's mostly for middle school students, that's who we're isolating, and then for students going in the 9th grade, we're doing a career week where they get to visit all sorts of different businesses.
Yeah. So we have a lot going on this summer in our district, and I'm very proud to be part of that. So.
Super, and I think that they can look at the sau6.org website to find out more information. I believe that's going to get posted next week, right?
Yeah, we're developing a site for that on our website. We also, if people want to register for it, it's actually a different route that we're going. They're going to be registering through the community center. So all registration will take place there, so they will. But we do, if anybody has any questions, we do have a specific email address, which is summerprograms@sau6.org. And so anyone that has any questions can send something into that, or they can reach out to me, if they forget. So
$10 a week or $25 for 6. The high school programs will probably, I don't know if they'll have a cost to it, probably not for recovery credit.
Nope, and they will have they will have a field trip. They're going to break theirs up to basically learning, because you always hear in high school, when am I ever going to use this?
Right.
When am I ever going to use this? And so they're going to have that opportunity, to see when they would actually use math or when they would actually use science, doing their field trips. And then we'll have another component that'll be community service based. So.
Fantastic. So you've been in the community for a couple of years now. You were assistant principal at SHS before you went on to be assistant superintendent. You've been here. What's the thing that attracts you most to Claremont? What do you like about it?
I like the community. I like how close the community is. I like how you know what's going on because you're informed. So I think that the closeness and the ability to make those adjustments and changes when we need to, and everybody's sticking together to do what's best for the whole instead of this is about me, this is about me. It's what's best for our whole entire community. So I think that's what I like the best about it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Donna. Anything else we haven't talked about that you want to share?
No, I think we've got it all under cover. I just would like for everybody to please reach out if they have any questions, concerns. I'll
Keep
be
social
happy to answer.
distance as much as possible.
Yeah,
Continue to
exactly,
Wear your mask,
exactly.
use hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Those are the basic rules, right?
I know, the typical thing that's always in my vocabulary now, so.
Very good. Thank you. This is another episode of Along the River. Thanks to Donna Magoon, Assistant Superintendent, for coming in and chatting with us. We'll see you around town.